Hey everyone, Shabby here, and welcome to our next episode of Octane. It's going to be a big one tonight. We've got 3 more cracking matches for you. Of course, last week we crowned our new #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship here, and this evening we've got some pretty big matches as well. And how about this to start the show off? We're going to be seeing Ricochet taking on the current Throwdown United States Champion, Austin Aries. And here we go. I'm looking forward to this one, to be honest with you. 2 top guys on not just Octane, but of course the Throwdown roster as well. My own show. I'm a massive Ricochet fan, I really am. I wonder when or if he will ever make that run over to WWE. I'm pretty sure his contract with Lucha Underground expires when the finale of Season 3 of Lucha Underground is finally televised. At that point in time, he is then free to sign for whoever he wants to sign for. And I'm hoping WWE is going to be his destination. However, I'm also hoping that Ricochet... The problem is, and I think this is the same issue now with a lot of people, is that they're a bit too big for NXT and so forth. And in my opinion, Ricochet, I wouldn't say he's too big for NXT, but I would see WWE potentially forcing him into the Cruiserweight division solely. And I don't think that would be the best place for Ricochet. I think Ricochet deserves to be a little bit more, given a little bit more sort of, I don't know, opportunity, I suppose is the best way of putting it. It's a bit like people like Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander is a very good wrestler, and I don't think he should be confined to solely just working in the Cruiserweight division. And it's the same with all those Cruiserweights. They're all fantastically talented, and I think that's one of the main problems I have with the Cruiserweight division at the moment, and I think I'm going to do a Shabby talk on it at some point. But for me, it's being made too much of a different thing. And like when you're on Monday Night Raw, and when the Cruiserweights want to have a match, they have to come out and change all the ropes and change the mat and all that sort of stuff. Why? Just let them wrestle on Raw. Why do they need to have everything changed? Why can't they just wrestle on Raw? And why can't, for example, one week... Why can't Noam Dar have a match against The Miz or something like that? It wouldn't obviously be a massive match for The Miz, like, but still, I think it would be I would like to see a bit more of that happening. Same with Austin Aries. Austin Aries, in my opinion, is too good to be confined to solely being in the Cruiserweight division, as is Neville as well. He's really proved himself, Neville, and I don't want to see these people confined to the Cruiserweight division, and I think that's one thing that if I was Ricochet, I would be worried about if I'd looked to join WWE. And maybe that's one of the reasons why both Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. Didn't take up the opportunity of signing with WWE when everyone else did. Maybe they had the thought of, well, I can earn a lot of money on the indie scene, I can main event shows around the world winning championships, or I can be a bit part on Monday Night Raw. I don't know, it's one of those sort of things, isn't it? You can be televised and not fulfill what you want to do, or you can fulfill what you want to do, main eventing shows and winning championships around the world, but not be on TV. It's a tricky one. And of course, both Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr., I suppose, made their decisions based on their own choices, I suppose, their own lifestyle and what they wanted from wrestling. But it's a tricky one, isn't it? And I think it worked really well for AJ Styles, and I think that might be one of the things holding Kenny Omega back, because Omega has said, I think, in a couple of... He's tried to distance himself from a lot of the WWE rumours recently, I've noticed, but I think when he has spoken about it, he's always said that he wouldn't want to do the NXT. He'd want to come in as AJ Styles did, and he wouldn't want to. He would want to come in and main event shows and show his ability and this, that, and the other. And I don't know if WWE would give him that opportunity, and I think they should give him that opportunity. The guy is rapidly becoming one of the hottest free agents out there, just like AJ Styles was when he left New Japan. So yeah, it's a tricky one. And I think AJ Styles is probably the only one in recent history that has gone straight onto the main roster. Of course, you've had like even Samoa Joe and Bobby Roode and all those sort of guys have had to do their obituary sort of NXT time. But I suppose we'll have to just wait and see what the future holds. At the moment, Kenny Omega is main eventing New Japan. Kenny Omega loves Japanese culture and Japanese lifestyle, so it makes you wonder, would he leave? He's performing in front of 100,000 people anyway. These pay-per-views are going across the world. Everybody's talking about him. He's able to do independent shows and sell merchandise. So yeah, it makes you wonder would Kenny Omega want to go to WWE, even if they did offer him something big and go main show? I don't know. But anyway, enough of all that sort of stuff. Let's concentrate on the match we have in front of us. A massive one this. Like I said, Austin Aries, the current United States champion, fresh off a massive victory over Zack Sabre Jr. on Throwdown a couple of days ago, defeating the Throwdown champion in that champion versus champion match, and now looking to continue building the momentum here against Ricochet. Of course, we know that Austin Aries will be defending that United States Championship at our next pay-per-view against Cody Rhodes, and he could continue building the momentum here. Big clothesline on Ricochet. Right, I have sorry, I forgot to mention this. I mentioned it on Throwdown the other day, and I am going to try it. I've switched off rope breaks because of how much of a problem we were getting with submissions and finisher maneuvers that just spring people into the ropes when they go for the pin. It's rope break, and the referee pushing people into the ropes, stuff like that. I've decided to try it without rope breaks on for a few episodes just to see if it makes the matches a bit smoother, and I think it possibly will. But let me know what you think on that situation. I don't think it should be too noticeable. I think if it's a rope break where they grab a hold of the ropes, I think that will still count. But I think just the being so close to the ropes rope break, I think won't count anymore in this game. Ricochet, marvellous Frankensteiner there, getting so high up. The vertical leap needed for that is incredible, and it is only a 2 count. And what would happen here for Ricochet? Of course, if he got a victory here over the United States Champion on Throwdown, of course, this is Octane, it's a different show, but I'm still sure, of course, the general manager myself would be inclined to allow it. I can't see why not. Ricochet, Pele kick as well, taking Austin Aries down. Ricochet now jumping his way up onto that top turnbuckle. What's he got planned here? 680 senton with a rotation as well. There's the pin. 1, 2. Oh my god, it's only a 2 count. Austin Aries kicked out. How on earth has Austin Aries kicked out? That is the question. Now Ricochet continuing the assault with a snapmare, taking Austin Aries down, now locking in the head scissors. Probably just an opportunity here for Ricochet to try and weaken Austin Aries and try and just regain a little bit of energy himself. Boot to the face there by Aries. Ricochet launching Aries into the ring, went for the running shoulder, but Aries escaped from the corner now into... Oh, he looked like he was going for a neck break. That was a low blow there by Ricochet. Referee did not see that low blow. And Ricochet with a German suplex. Referee completely unawares of what Ricochet has just pulled off there. In for the pin. 1, 2. Only a 2 count, but that low blow by Ricochet, that's interesting. Not the sort of thing we expect to come from Ricochet, that sort of thing. He's normally not as hot-headed as that, but situation a bit interesting here. Oh, by the way, our main event here this evening, cracking match for you. We're going to see Ricky the Dragon Steamboat taking on Rey Mysterio Jr. That's our main event here this evening. And we also have for you Hideo Itami taking on Davey Richards one-on-one. So 2 cracking matches still to come after this one. As Austin Aries just staring down Ricochet as he slowly gets back up to his feet. Aries runs across the ring into a crucifix. There's the pin. 1, 2. And it's only a 2 count. That's our first experience there of the rope break system, because that would have been given rope break normally. But I think it's going to be better for it. I think it's going to make the matches a bit smoother. Ricochet launching Austin Aries away from that corner. Jumping drop kick to the seated Austin Aries, standing shooting star as well. Ricochet now really starting to turn the screws, and as I say that, Austin Aries playing possum, catching Ricochet with the uppercut. Ricochet looks a bit shaken. Aries taking him up onto his shoulders. Rolls him through. Aries now bringing Ricochet back up. Looking for a suplex, but Ricochet reversing into a suplex of his own. And Aries is pretty well placed there. And I was right, Aries is very well placed. Ricochet making his way up onto that top rope. Gene himself up, 680 senton for the second time in the match. There's the pin by Ricochet. 1, 2, and only a 2 count. Austin Aries, man, what are you on? I'm going to have to drugs test Austin Aries after this match. Kicking out of 2 680 sentons. Ricochet now frog splash to the back of Austin Aries. Aries back up to his feet. Ricochet catches him once again into the corner. Taking Aries up onto that top turnbuckle. And again, that Frankenstein of that vertical leap of Ricochet is just incredible. The athleticism involved with that is just immense. The leg strength needed. I couldn't jump anywhere near that high if I've tried. Ricochet again just throwing Austin Aries away from the corner. We saw this earlier on. Drop kick right to the face of the seated Austin Aries. See, that's more of a vicious move, that one, because when you're seated like that, when you're standing and you take that drop kick, you sort of fall back with it and you don't take as much of the force. But when you're seated, your body's got nowhere to go but flat into the mat, and you really do take a lot more impact from that drop kick. Aries with a neck breaker now on Ricochet, bringing Ricochet back up. There's the head scissors, big elbow to the forehead of Ricochet. Aries, though, just slowly backing away into the corner, doing nothing. We've seen glitches and bugs like this in the game for quite some time now, where nothing sort of happens. They back away into the corner and don't do anything. It's a bit frustrating, really. Come on, Aries, do something. There we go. Now, slamming the back of Ricochet's head into the mat. And I think if Aries is going to be bugged like that and not actually want to go for his signature maneuver, then that probably does give Ricochet the advantage in this match. Ricochet now, Northern Lights suplex. Rolls it through. Hoists him up. The deadlift into a vertical suplex. The strength involved in that as well. Ricochet, pound for pound, one of the most strongest and most agile wrestlers I have seen. And again, though, it's only enough to keep Austin Aries down for a 2. Ricochet on his way up onto that top. Is he looking for the third 680 of the match? No, he goes for an inverted 450. Changing up his arsenal a bit here, Ricochet. Trying to catch Austin Aries unaware, but Aries is back up playing possum. And Ricochet again, another low blow and a drop kick to the back of the head of Austin Aries. Referee again, I don't know if he's seen it and letting it go or whether he's missing these, but those are 2 blatant low blows that Ricochet's now hit on Austin Aries, and Ricochet up on the middle rope, taunting the crowd. It's an odd one here from Ricochet, not the sort of maneuvers you expect to see him pulling off, is it really? Ricochet now spinning Aries around, and again, looks like we're going to see another of these seated drop kicks. There it is, big drop kick there by Ricochet on Austin Aries. Aries, a kick to the inside of the knee of Ricochet though. Both guys back up on their feet. Aries now dragging Ricochet middle of the ring. Looked like he was maybe lining him up there for a potential brainbuster, but Ricochet spinning Austin Aries through. Now what is Ricochet looking for here? Again, Northern Lights suplex. Rolls it through. Deadlift into a vertical suplex, middle of the ring. Ricochet drops into the pin, surely this time. 1, 2, and... I don't know. I just don't understand this game. I really don't. As I've mentioned on several occasions now, I do have finisher strength set to the strongest it can possibly be. Yet Ricochet has hit 2 680s and 2 of that combination Northern Light vertical suplexes, and still Austin Aries will not stay down. It just shows the resilience of Aries is incredible on this game. And now Aries looking to line up Ricochet. Slap to the ears. Now rolling him through for the second last chancery of the match. And Ricochet does tap out. Austin Aries showed an incredible amount of resilience in this match and held on after taking some huge maneuvers here from Ricochet. And Austin Aries is victorious, I suppose. Best way of putting it. The only way of putting it, really. And that just shows the sort of run that Austin Aries is currently on. Current United States champion, victory over the Throwdown champion Zack Sabre Jr. only a couple of days ago on Throwdown, and then arguably the hardest contender he's had to face here on Octane in Ricochet, and again, victorious. Cracking work here by Austin Aries. And here is our second match of the evening. It is going to be Hideo Itami taking on Davey Richards in Hideo Itami's first singles match in this universe mode. And here we go. It's ready. It's time. It's ready. It's time. It's time to go. I don't know. I'm going to stop talking now because a lot of the stuff that's come out of my mouth, it seems to be crap at the moment. So I'm going to try and talk as little as possible. Here comes Hideo Itami. Of course, I brought him in to throw down during the Shabby shake-up. And yeah, it was someone who was sort of left off the... We sort of left off the original draft, and it was... The problem is with the original draft is we had, of course, all 256 members of the roster on the game. Sorry, 156 members of the roster on the game, plus the 100 created wrestlers we were using as well. And we both picked 50 picks each. Some were draft picks, some were... they're all draft. What am I on about? Some were singles, some were tag teams, some were stables. So at the moment, both brands have ended up with about 100 people each, which means there has, after the Shabby shake-up, there's still 56 people laying around not being used. So it's been a tricky one to try and get as many people as possible on all the different shows. And I think we've got some plans in the future. I'm not going to go into it too much now, but I'm quite excited about how this universe mode is going to develop. But that will be probably from June onwards. I'm going to try and get to the next pay-per-view first before I make any wholesale changes. But yeah, like I said, we've got some big changes coming for you, and I think they are going to be beneficial. I think we've learned a lot through this first season of our universe mode, the first 3 months really. We've learned a lot. We know what works, what doesn't work. We know the problems we're having and so forth, and the requests we're getting in the comment section. We sort of understand now really more what you guys are looking for, and also just from me playing through it, I understand how I feel that I could do the shows better as well. So yeah, I think when the changes are made, we're definitely going to have a better universe mode for you. But I do promise that will be in the beginning of June, after our next pay-per-view, that the wholesale changes will happen. So here we go then, Hideo Itami versus Davey Richards. Two guys very well known for their strikes. I think I've said it before a few times, one of my favourite matches I ever saw live, if not my favourite match I ever saw live, was actually Davey Richards versus Tommy End in St. Neots about 2 or 3 years ago. That was a cracking match, and I had no idea how both those guys didn't leave with concussions, because the kicks they were giving each other to the side of the head were just incredible. But yeah, it was just it was a stunning match. It really was fantastic. And I think that was the same night. Yeah, I think also on that night there was, if you want to go very much into the British wrestling scene, you had Martin Kirby, who's very well known now from What Culture Pro Wrestling, and El Ligero, someone else who's very well known from What Culture. But of course they are quite big names across the UK indie scene already anyway. I believe they had I think it was a no DQ match, or may have been something along them lines. I don't think it was last man standing like that, but that was a really good match as well. That ended up with Kirby he was busted open pretty bad, I think. It was a really good show, that was, actually. Every Southside wrestling show I've been to has always been absolutely fantastic. So if you ever get a chance to go to if you're in the UK and you get a chance to go to a UK show, Southside is based very much around the Midlands, but they've done a few more shows recently up north in Sheffield and so forth. So if you get a chance, then it's definitely worth checking out. I think the UK indie scene has improved so much over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, and although it's declined a little bit recently with the amount of stars that are leaving, and of course going to WWE or New Japan or across just to America in general, I think it's still a very strong area, and you can get some pretty good wrestling no matter where you go. Of course, we all know how good Progress Wrestling is, and you've got IPW as well, and you've got ICW, yeah, Insane Championship Wrestling. So there is a lot you can go for in the UK now. And of course in America, it's even easier, I suppose, in America. I don't know if it is. There's a lot more shows in America going on, but of course America is a much bigger country, so I don't know if there's a lot more travelling involved. You'll have to let me know. If you are American and you are watching these videos, do you have any local wrestling companies to you? If so, what company is it? I know a lot of the American companies now seem to have very strong rosters. You get people like Pentagon Juniors wrestling up and down America night after night after night, isn't he now? And companies that I never personally have heard of. You look at their... It's amazing. You look on Twitter and someone shares something, and like you'll see someone share a card for a wrestling company you've never heard of before. And you look at it like, that is an awesome card. How have they pulled that off? And then you realise that just like the majority of American companies now seem to be able to pull this off. They're just... The money's there. The demand is there. I think the demand in wrestling is slowly starting to go back up, you know. Of course, we had the boom period in the 90s when it was WWF versus WCW, but since then it's sort of declined a bit in the 2000s, didn't it? But now, I think over the last sort of 2 years or so, it's definitely started to improve again as Hideo Itami catching Davey Richards here with a combination of strikes, boots to the chest now, and a spinning heel kick, taking Davey Richards down into the pin. Goes Hideo, 1, 2, it's only a 2 count. Hideo Itami now looking to line up Davey Richards. We know he likes to utilise that running knee strike. Is Davey going to be one who takes it? And he is. Hideo Itami's arm there, I think, bent in a very awkward position, but now he goes to the pin, 2. And Hideo Itami picks up a quick victory here on his singles debut on Octane here against Davey Richards. Great victory there. I'm pretty impressed by that. And that's starting to make me think, you know what? We may have forgotten about Hideo to start off with. And again, I think a lot of people forgot about him in real life because of the amount of injuries he's had. Of course, he is headlining the next NXT TakeOver against Bobby Roode, but he's just sort of been a little bit absent for the last 12 months because of injuries. And I'm hoping that he can get a good long run out of this now. And hopefully in our universe mode as well. And here is our next match, and of course our main event of the evening. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat takes on Rey Mysterio Jr. And here we go. I'm looking forward to this, you know. And I wasn't going to have this match, to be honest with you. I had ideas lined up in my head of who I could do as a main event, but just when I opened up the card and the game had already booked this, I thought to myself, you know what, that's actually a bloody good match, and that's a match I would like to see. We've not really used Ricky the Dragon Steamboat a lot. I believe he's recent... Oh, I've got what he's done now. Does he moved... I think Ricky the Dragon Steamboat has recently moved from Mayhem over to Throwdown, hasn't he? I think so. Because... Yeah, because I think PJ Tovey took the Macho Man Randy Savage from us, and we took Ricky the Dragon Steamboat from Mayhem, because I remember being a little bit annoyed because I really wanted to have those two guys feud off against each other, and I ended up drafting them away from each other in the end. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a dodgy one, wasn't it? But, yeah, I think we could have some pretty good matches with these guys. And two real pioneers of the division as well. Of course, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was one of the original high flyers, I suppose, if you look at it that way. He was doing these high-flying maneuvers back in... What would it have been? It would have been the late 80s, early 90s. And, of course, Rey Mysterio, very well known. He was one of the main luchadors over on WCW Nitro, wasn't he, really, as well? And these two guys can really be attributed to a lot of the high flyers that are around now. You ask a lot of people who they looked up to when they got into wrestling, and I guarantee there's a lot of people that would say these two guys. Definitely. I like the way they both got wings on as well. Well, I don't think Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had wings on this attire, but Rey Mysterio's repping them anyway. I like this Rey Mysterio core. I know it's I know this attire wasn't used very often. I think it was used on 1 or 2 Lucha Underground episodes, but I think it just looks a lot cooler than his other attire, which is why I sort of kept with this one. I know I probably could use the proper attire a bit often, but yeah, I just prefer this one. I think it looks better. So there you go. This is going to be an interesting match, this one. And I know it's been mentioned a couple of times for me to change Rey Mysterio's finish maneuver, and I think I will do at some point. It's not necessarily... Well, it is his finisher maneuver, isn't it? Because the only way you can hit his finishing maneuver is when somebody's already draped across that middle rope, and the chance of them being draped across that middle rope are very, very slim. So he uses the Hurricanrana as a signature, and it does work sometimes, but not all the time, if that makes sense. Well, the bell goes and we are underway anyway. Jawbreaker there by Rey Mysterio, then dives straight in with a dropkick to the knee. Now into a standing moonsault. Dropkick to the knee is a clever idea because it sort of weakens the legs of Ricky Steamboat. And like I said, if both these guys want to utilize high-flying maneuvers, taking out a leg is definitely going to be a way to sort of reduce the amount of damage that Ricky Steamboat can do to Rey Mysterio. But I don't think it's going to quite be enough as Steamboat going crazy here, dropping Rey down. And there's the claw to the shoulder of Rey Mysterio Jr. And it's a little bit of a slower match than what we anticipated to start things off, but I can imagine it is going to get a little bit high-flying pretty soon. Steamboat now just dropping some fists right into the face of Rey Mysterio Jr. And I think maybe Steamboat has ever so slightly changed his moveset here, changed his wrestling style to try and make sure that he nullifies Rey Mysterio as well. And that could be a clever move by Ricky Steamboat. But then again, you don't really want to change what you're good at because then you'll get caught out. Rey now with the front chancery, looking for the Northern Light suplex. Bringing Steamboat back up to see, but Steamboat launching Rey over the top. Rey's back hitting the mat hard. You saw him wince there in pain as he landed. But he's straight back up now with a jawbreaker on Steamboat, ducking the clothesline and a kick. And another kick to the hamstring and a third. This time sending Steamboat to the ground. I forgot his name there for a second. So I should never record while I've got my YouTube page open. I've got my internet page open on one of my computers, and I've got my obviously my screen recorder on the other. And the problem is I keep getting distracted because every now and again I'll see one of your guys' comments pop up in the bottom corner, and I instinctively just read them. And I always do read your comments, and I will reply to all of them if they're... Well, I'll reply to all of them that I see. Sometimes YouTube will block some of them. I don't know why. I think it's to do with certain words that are being used, or if somebody says check out my channel, I think it instantly gets knocked off by YouTube. So a little bit of a warning there. If you do write check out my channel, chances are I will never see that comment because YouTube has a spam filter that automatically clears that comment away. My phone's ringing now as well. There's all sorts going on at this point in time. I don't even know who that number is. Maybe it's a Nigerian businessman. That could be useful. There appears to be a pigeon in your bank account. I just need your account number and your sort code. Rey Mysterio now up on the top. He's doing a bit too much taunting here. And finally does go for the frog splash. Of course, a homage to one of his good friends, Eddie Guerrero. There's the pin. 1, 2... I was going to say I want a homage to one of his good friends, Eddie Guerrero, who sadly passed away. And he did sadly pass away, don't get me wrong. But it's a bit of a weird thing to stay in this universe, mate, when Eddie Guerrero is still a character. So I'm not an Eddie Guerrero death denier or anything like that. But it is just a weird thing to say sometimes, isn't it, really? And I suppose if you look at it, majority of our, well, not the majority, but a good chunk of our roster is probably not with us anymore. I wouldn't like to go into guessing. Whatever happened to Richie Steamboat? Anyway, there's one for you guys. I know Richie Steamboat, he had a pretty bad injury, because that's when I first started watching NXT was when Richie Steamboat was in there. Of course, Ricky Steamboat's son. And I know he had a pretty bad injury, and I think he might have got released at that point. But hey, if you know what happened to Richie Steamboat, let me know. Is he still wrestling? Has he left the wrestling business altogether? Is he still recuperating? I don't honestly know. A little bit of homework for you. I will be checking. Steamboat again, locking in the sleeper hold. He's gone to this for a few times in this match now. And Mysterio, pretty easy one for him to get out of. This Mysterio is quite short. It's quite easy for him to get into that jawbreaker, really. And Mysterio with an unprettier. Unprettier or kill switch. Whatever. I got told off on a previous... there we go. Yeah, that's the issue we've had, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I got moaned at in the comment section by a couple of people for calling that the Imprettier. That's just always what I remember it being. I didn't see a lot of Christian's single run, and I'm pretty sure Christian always used to call it the Imprettier, but apparently it was called the Kill Switch. I don't think I didn't see it at that point in time, but it probably was a better name, the Kill Switch, than the Imprettier. Oh, Steamboat now stalking Rey Mysterio as he gets back up to his feet. Of course, Steamboat likes to use the he likes to use the crossbody as a finisher move, but Rey Mysterio caught him in a rock bottom. 1, 2. Oh, it's only a 2 count. What kind of world are we living in when Rey Mysterio wins a match by a rock bottom? That would be incredible. Mysterio now waiting for Steamboat to get back up to his feet. Great Hurricanrana from the middle rope. And Rey back up to the middle rope, but not to continue his offense, but to try and get the crowd behind him, try and get the crowd G'd up. And he's wasted a bit of time, but it could be beneficial if he gets the momentum he needs from the crowd. Standing moonsault there by Mysterio. Now, I don't know, I've turned rope breaks off, but I don't know what the situation is with rope breaks on submissions. I'm sure they'll still count on submissions, surely. I wonder if we get a chance to find out. Oh, nice little Lucha Libre style move there by Rey Mysterio, just launching Steamboat across the ring, but not the most powerful of moves, just a bit more of an insulting move, if anything. There's a sunset flip bomb by Rey Mysterio, and it's enough for the 3 count. Rey Mysterio does pick up the victory in the main event here against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and Mysterio's more than happy with that. Of course he is. Why would he not be? And we've not seen a lot of Mysterio. Again, he's someone who's sort of been a little bit in obscurity throughout this universe mode. He's been in and out. Somebody I had a lot more intention of using a lot more of, but like I said, he's been a little bit in and out, and we've not really seen a lot of him, and I'm hoping that we can maybe push forward a bit more with him. Why is that popped up? I don't know why it does this. I don't know why. Who cares? Anyway, that is the end of our episode of Octane. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, be sure to slap a like, and of course hit that subscribe button as well. It does really help me out. It makes the video easier for other people to find and grows the channel, that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think that's about it I've got to tell you for this episode. Of course, if you want to see some more, there will be uploading an episode of Mayhem in a couple of days' time. And of course, there is a link in the description below to the playlist for all the videos that's currently been in this Universe Mode season. And of course, we have Universe Mode we've already got on our channel, which is it's more of an up-to-date, realistic one, and that we did 3 months of as well before we started this one, so you can check that out on the channel as well. I've been Shabby Gamer, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all very, very soon for some more SWE Universe Mode.